There, what if I told you we can make a button so cool, it feels like it's straight out of a retro arcade game? Yep, today we're diving into this pixelated hover effect that's not only fun, but also super satisfying to watch. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll want to hover over it all day. Before we jumped in, I would like to say thank you so much for the patrons supporting the content and being part of this journey. It means the world to me. For just $3 a month on Patreon, you'll get full access to all the source codes that'll take your coding skills to the next level. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel too. Crazy fact, only 1.9% of viewers hit that subscribe button. So help me beat those odds and join the family while you're at it. Alright, now that we've got the excitement out of the way, let's jump into the foundation of this project, the HTML. So here's the heart of our button setup in the HTML. First off, we've got a button element with the class pixel button. This is essentially our container for the whole button design. It's what makes the button clickable and gives it that interactive feel. Inside that, we've added a div with the class grid. This is where the magic starts to happen, because this grid will hold all those tiny pixel squares that give our button that retro, pixelated look. And finally, we've got a span with the class button text that says hover me. This is the text you see on the button, perfectly centered and ready to grab your attention. So basically, this structure is setting up everything we need for both functionality and style. Now that we've got the HTML structure locked in, let's level things up by diving into the CSS part. Alright, let's break this down. First up, we've got the body selector, which is styling the entire web page. The background color is set to a dark gray color, giving us that sleek, moody vibe. Then, we're using display flex to turn the body into a flexible container, which makes it super easy to center everything perfectly. To achieve that, we use justify content center to align everything horizontally in the middle, and align items center to do the same vertically. Finally, the height is set to 100 VH, meaning the body will take up the full height of the viewport, ensuring our button stays front and center no matter the screen size. This setup creates the perfect stage for our pixelated button to shine. Here we've got the pixel button selector, which is styling our button to make it look clean and functional. First, padding is set to 0 to remove any extra space inside the button, and border is removed completely so there's no outline around it. The background is also set to none, giving us a blank canvas to work with. To make it feel interactive, cursor pointer ensures the cursor changes to that familiar hand icon when hovering over the button. Next, overflow hidden makes sure nothing spills outside the button area, keeping everything tidy. We're adding a subtle border radius of 5 pixels to round off the edges just a bit, giving it a modern touch. The width is set to 160 pixels, which matches the 20 columns of 8 pixel squares. And the height is 48 pixels, matching the 6 rows of 8 pixel squares. Finally, font family is set to Poppins, a clean and modern font that ties everything together. This setup ensures the button looks sharp and ready for its pixelated effect. Let's dive into the grid selector, which is the backbone of our pixelated design. First, display grid transforms this element into a grid container, allowing us to create that iconic pixel structure. The grid template columns property uses repeat to create 20 columns, each 8 pixel wide, while grid template rows does the same for 6 rows. Each 8 pixel tall, this gives us a perfect grid of tiny squares. To ensure there's no spacing between the pixels, gap is set to 0, keeping everything snug and seamless. The width and height are both set to 100%, ensuring the grid fills the entire button area. Finally, position relative is added to allow for precise positioning of child elements later if needed. This setup creates the foundation for our retro pixel effect, making it both structured and visually striking. Here's where the magic happens with the dot pixel selector, which styles each tiny square in our grid. First, width and height are both set to 8 pixel, making each pixel a perfect little square. The background color is set to light gray, giving the pixels their initial neutral tone. To make the hover effect smooth and visually appealing, transition is applied to the background color, ensuring any color change happens over 0.5 seconds with an ease timing function. This creates that satisfying fade effect when the pixels shift colors on hover. Together, these properties bring our pixel grid to life, making it dynamic and fun to interact with. Let's break down the button text selector, which styles the Hover Me text to make it perfectly centered and visually appealing. First, Position Absolute allows us to precisely place the text within its container. Using top 50% and left 50%, we position the text starting point at the center of the button, and then transform Translate -50%. -50% ensures the text is perfectly centered by shifting it back by half its width and height. The Z-index 2 ensures the text stays on top of the pixel grid, making it clearly visible. The color is set to a dark gray, giving it a subtle contrast against the light pixels, while font weight 700 makes the text bold and eye-catching. The font size is set to 16 pixel for a clean and readable appearance. To add a smooth effect when the color changes on hover, transition is applied to the color property, lasting 1 second with an ease timing function. Finally, Point Events None ensures the text doesn't interfere with any mouse interactions, keeping the focus on the button itself. This setup ensures the text is both functional and stylish. Here's a cool detail with the pixel button hover and button text selector, which creates a dynamic color change for the text when you hover over the button. This rule specifically targets the button text inside the pixel button, but only when the button is being hovered on. When that happens, the color of the text shifts to light gray, matching the initial color of the pixels. This subtle yet effective change ties the text into the overall hover effect, making it feel cohesive and interactive. It's a small touch, but it adds a lot of polish to the overall experience. Now that we've got the HTML and CSS fully set up to create the structure and style of our pixelated button, it's time to bring it to life with some interactivity. This is where JavaScript steps in to make the magic happen. First, we're using Document Query Selector to grab the grid element from our HTML and store it in the variable grid. This is how we'll target the grid container to manipulate it later. Next, we've got total pixels set to 120, which represents the total number of pixels in our grid, calculated by multiplying the 20 columns by the 6 rows. Finally, we're creating an empty array called timeout IDs, which will come in handy for managing and clearing any delayed actions we'll use to create the hover effect. These variables are setting up the foundation for all the interactivity we're about to add. Here's where we start building the grid dynamically. We're using a for loop to iterate from 0 up to total pixels, which is 120, ensuring we create one div for each pixel. Inside the loop, we use document create element to create a new div element and store it in the variable pixel. Then, we add the class pixel to this newly created div using class list add, so it gets all the styling we defined earlier in our CSS part. Finally, we append each pixel to the grid using append child, adding it as a child element inside the grid container. This process repeats until all 120 pixels are created and neatly placed into our grid, ready to be animated. Here's where the hover magic begins. We're using grid add event listener to listen for the mouse enter event, which triggers whenever the user moves their cursor over the grid. Once that happens, we use document query selector all to grab all elements with the class pixel, storing them in the variable pixels. Then, we loop through each pixel using for each, and for every pixel, we calculate a random delay between 0 and 1000 milliseconds using math random. This delay ensures the color change feels dynamic and staggered. Inside the loop, we use set timeout to schedule a color change for each pixel, setting its background color to purple after the random delay. The ID of each timeout is stored in the timeout IDs array by using push, so we can manage these delays later if needed. This creates that eye-catching, randomized pixel fill effect when you hover over the button. When the user moves their cursor away from the grid, we handle this with another grid add event listener, this time listening for the mouse leave event. First, we loop through all the IDs stored in the timeout IDs array using for each ID, we call clear timeout to cancel any pending delayed actions that haven't yet executed. This ensures that no leftover animations continue after the cursor has left the grid. Then, we reset the timeout IDs array by setting its length to 0, effectively clearing it out and preparing it for the next hover interaction. This cleanup step keeps everything running smoothly and prevents unwanted behavior when the user hovers over the button again. After clearing the timeouts, we ensure the grid resets to its original state by grabbing all the pixel elements, again using document query selector all and storing them in the variable pixels. Then, we loop through each pixel with for each, and for every pixel, we set its background color back to light gray. This step restores the grid to its default appearance after the hover effect ends, making it ready for the next interaction. It's a simple, yet crucial part of the process, ensuring the button always looks clean and consistent when the user isn't hovering over it. Here's the final result. A sleek, pixelated button that comes alive with a dynamic hover effect, filling up with vibrant purple pixels in a staggered animation. The retro-inspired design, combined with smooth transitions, creates an interactive experience that's both nostalgic and modern. It's simple, eye-catching, and perfect for adding a touch of playfulness to any project. And that's a wrap on this project. Pretty satisfying, right? If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to see more creative coding projects like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Code Instinct channel for regular updates. Also, if you have any feedback, ideas, or just want to share your version of this pixelated button, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and share this video with others who might find it inspiring. Until next time, happy coding!